Hey Mazda guys, it's Mike from Chassis Parts Online, and I got something for you today. I'm building some lower control arms. Matter of fact, there they are right there. That's the latest version basically. But I wanted to show you guys how they fit the frame and how most of these A-shaped arms will fit in the Mazda frame. As you know, the Mazda frame has a metal bushing like this. This isn't one of them, but it's about the same size. This is what's welded in the bottom of the Mazda frame. And the factory control arm's got a bushing inside of it, rubber bushing with a metal sleeve that's pushed into it. The Mazda control arm, the stock one, fits over this and goes straight out from there. Okay, so the ball joint's straight out from there basically. Okay, so to make an A-shaped arm and eliminate the strut rod, takes some doing. Okay, now I think some other people that make one, they make a sleeve that goes all the way inside here and goes all the way out the back, and then you're one bushing at the back and one bushing at the front. Okay, problem is machine sleeves like that, they're kind of expensive, and you can't just order one or two at a time. So small shop like me can't do that unless I get somebody that's already making them for theirs to make some for me. So I usually got to come up with an easier solution. Okay, so, and I've done just that. Okay, basically the first thing you need to know about getting that bushing out is it's in that Mazda frame pretty good. Guys talk about burning them out and things like that, and running a drill through them. You don't have to do any of that. Okay, the easiest way to do it, and let me get over to a Mazda frame, we can talk about it. Okay, bushing is down inside there, and this is the factory arm on a truck in my shop that somebody bagged. Not me, I did not bag it, and I certainly did not make these control arms. That bushing is rubber in the middle. It's got a metal sleeve inside of it, inside the rubber, and metal sleeve on the outside of the rubber. It is a pain in the ass to get it out. So, but you gotta have that strut rod, or you gotta have an A-shaped arm to fix it. All right, so let me move to one more frame. Okay, so this frame is a stock frame that's just kind of sitting out in the backyard, and I had already pressed these out in anticipation of making some tube arms for this truck. So basically what I did was I put a jack, a hydraulic jack, between this part right here and that bushing to push it out, because that bushing is pushed in from the back. It's got a flange around the back, so you got to push it out from the front. Okay, so the first thing I did was spray it down with PB Blaster all over it, and I stuck a screwdriver in the edges of it, pried it up a little bit, and shot some PB Blaster in there. And then I put a piece of metal on the end of that jack to push against that bushing. Okay, so then I started jacking on it. Damn, that sounds bad. Then I took a torch from the bottom and heated the bottom of that bushing. Okay, I did this while this frame was on the table. I heated it on that bushing and heated on that bushing, and it finally just popped right out the back. Okay, I didn't have to burn it. I didn't have to drill holes through it. Didn't have to do anything other than put a jack there. Okay, and I've done a second frame with putting a porta power right there, but the porta power, man, I was at the very limit of that. But it's a small porta power, so larger one may do better. Okay, so let me get back in the shop. So basically what I did then was I measured the inside of that tube on that vehicle outside, and then I just needed a washer that would fit inside there. Okay, so basically that's it. That the outside of this is the same size as the inside of the Mazda frame. Now this bushing right here is a regular 4-link bushing. It's not what I'm talking about, but that's how it fits basically. So what we needed on the front was a washer, basically, that's the same size as the tube, or close to it, with that on the inside. And I got a hole in the middle to line it up, because the bolt's got to go through it. And a weld-on nut. So basically, what I do is bolt that together, and then these little two notch sides, that's where I put the weld at, to weld the two washers together, and then I weld the nut around the nut, okay? Then that whole assembly goes in the front, right in the front like that, up inside there, okay? And then you can weld it in all the way around, okay? Then when you got your bushing, it goes through here, your bolt goes through here, right into that other threaded piece, and that mounts your front bushing, okay? And on the back side of that, we have to have a tube. And there's the tube, okay? Basically, this is a piece of 1 3/4 DOM. Basically, it's a little bit smaller than the frame outside, but this all goes together on in the front hole of this, which goes right there, is basically the same thing, except it's just a washer, the two washers together, and that's it. Because that sticks out on this one like this, so that when it goes into that groove, okay? That lines it up, okay? Makes it very easy to line that up so you can weld that too. But you're asking, well, what do you do on the other end? Well, that's pretty simple too. On the other end, you just got a cap with a weld-on nut, okay? This goes here, goes on the end, so that the nut's on the inside. So now you've got a nut on the inside of the tube on both ends. You got the distance you need, and I leave a little bit of room to go on here and here for a washer, sort of like this one. This is basically a laser cut stainless steel 1/8" thick washer, okay? Because basically what you've got is a bushing rubbing up against that, rubbing up and down against that as your suspension cycles, okay? If it was bare metal, it wears the paint off, it's going to rust, okay? This is not going to rust, okay? Plus you can stack these, and I also ship the arms with some thin ones like this to shim it wherever you need to, front or back, okay? So that's how I solved that problem without having to get a machine piece. Now maybe down the road later on, when I get some bigger machines, some more money, we could do it the other way. But that's all for now on this piece. Okay, on the arm itself, this is made for the 86 to 93 Mazda. It's made to use an S10 ball joint facing up, which means, yes, you do have to drill the bottom of your spindle, okay? I have never once ever used a drop spindle on a Mazda that I've done. I've always used the stock spindle as is, or drilled it from the bottom, or even taken a couple of inches out of the middle of the spindle and made the stock spindle a drop spindle, okay? Because when you drill it from the bottom, the pivot point of that ball joint is actually moving about 4 inches down. That's a lot. So you can take 2 inches out of the bottom of the spindle and take another 2 out of the top. Okay, well, the tubing here, this is 1 1/4 DOM with a 1/4 wall. I mean, that's some serious tube. That's what that tube looks like. Okay, we don't use 1 inch like a lot of people do. There's 1 inch 1/4 wall. Most people use 1 inch 3/16 wall. We use 1 1/4 1/4 wall, and the reason is because a lot of people are doing LS swaps on these trucks. LS motor quite a bit heavier than the Mazda motor. Remember that when you're ordering motor mounts, and you see those motor mounts online that for LS, that you just use the factory Mazda rubber mount to hold up an LS. Are you kidding me? Come on, man. Anyways, these bushings are 2-inch DOM quarter wall. They use a energy suspension polyurethane bushing, graphite impregnated polyurethane. As I said, S10 ball joints. Back plates on top. I've got a weld-on shock mount. That's basically the shock mount. I mean, it's pretty simple. You can put it on the bottom of the arm, weld it on whatever angle you want. You weld it where it's close like that, or you can spin it around and weld it the other way, and it'll hold your shock. Pretty simple. Those are included in the box if you ask for them. They don't cost anything extra. I don't have these on the website yet, but I will. A lot of people run stiff bags like Slam Specialties bags without a shock mount, so that's why I don't put a shock mount on the arm itself. So that's how these arms work. I'm about to build a set of uppers here in the next few days, and I'll put some video of that in this same space. If you got any questions or anything, be sure to ask me. Send me a message, email. Hell, my phone number is even on the website. Let me show you one other thing real quick. That's the rear mount. This goes on that tube that I showed you, that weld-on tube. This goes to the frame at the back of that tube, basically. So when this is on the truck, basically like that, this tube goes on right there. It's like that. Goes on the frame. Actually, the tube would be at the back. Like that. The tube goes right there. So that tube goes like that. And the mount goes back here at the very back. You'll see how it fits against the frame. Welds on. It's about a 1/2 inch inside of that. It gives you plenty of room to weld it. So basically what I'm doing here is making some instructions on how to install these. I may make another video that gives a little bit more detail when I get the uppers done. But everybody seems to like these lowers. They're plenty heavy duty. You're not going to bend them. Hell, you can hop the front end. You're not going to bend them. That plate, that laser cut plate, is 1/2 inch thick. And it's got plenty of meat there to it. And as I said, S10 ball joint. That's a K6145. The energy suspension bushings are 3040, which, as you guys know, energy suspension is sold by all kinds of hardware stores, auto parts stores, anywhere you can. Hell, online, Amazon's even got them. So you can get those there. Pretty much the rest of the hardware is all stainless, so it's not going to rust. You don't have to worry about it. So that's pretty much it. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll be making more videos. At the time, I'm making these right now with my phone, so I'm not very good at it. And plus, I'm a little sick this week, so that's why I sound kind of nasally. Still sick. But still got to go to work. That's the life of being self-employed. I'll make some more videos. Hit like, subscribe. If you have anything you want covered, just let me know. I'll take care of it. Thanks. Peace.